Welcome back to Normal Baseball's 2023 Team Projection Will Be series. Today we have the New York Yankees. Let's get into it. What's going on? Welcome back to Normal Baseball. Today we are continuing our 2023 Will Be Team Projection series with the New York Yankees. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And so we graded every single team in Major League Baseball to make power rankings. We graded them 1 to 10 on 7 different categories. Lineup, bench, rotation, bullpen, defense, coaching, and energy. And we tallied up the totals and made a ranking through highest to lowest. Today we have the New York Yankees, who came in at the 4th best team in baseball based on our list, and the 2nd best team in the American League. We're going to get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Very excited. The New York Yankees last season started off as the best team in baseball by far, with just an incredible record by the All-Star break. And from there, it was all downhill. They went on to lose a lot in the second half and then wound up getting swept by the Houston Astros in the ALCS. So that seems how it goes mostly every year for the Yankees, getting taken out by the Astros in a series. So, yeah, let's do it. The Yankees, starting with their lineup. We gave their lineup an 8.2 out of 10. Their lineup right now looks like Gleyber Torres at second base, Aaron Judge at center field, or right field rather, we'll say. Aaron Judge in right field, Anthony Rizzo at first base, Giancarlo Stanton DHing, Oswaldo Cabrera in right field, I guess they have that listed, Josh Donaldson at third, Aaron Hicks in left, Jose Trevino at catcher, and Oswald Peraza at shortstop. So I think they have Aaron Judge listed as center because Harrison Bader got injured recently. So they have him listed at center for now, and Oswaldo Cabrera at right field. So very exciting. Very good lineup. Obviously, you don't have IKF in this lineup anymore, who is currently on the bench. They're looking to trade him. But Josh Donaldson was another guy who struggled a lot last season. That is kind of a minus to this lineup as of right now, unless he can play a lot better than he did last season. The rest of this lineup's looking pretty interesting too. What do you got on it?
Yeah, I find it interesting how, at least on Fangraphs, which is where we're getting all the projected lineups for this whole series, we are seeing Oswald Peraza make the opening day shortstop role over the guy that the Yankees wanted so badly in IKF. Pretty shocking to me, in my opinion.
Shocking.
However, I would love it. I just have a funny feeling that come opening day, we're going to be talking about how IKF is the starting shortstop for the team once again. In other parts of the lineup is what I was trying to say. My apologies. I don't know how long Harrison Bader is going to be out. I believe they said about 6 weeks because of an oblique strain. If I am thinking correctly, let me see. Yeah, strained oblique, and about 6 weeks. But I do hope that they take his time getting him back, because he is one of, especially in the postseason, he was one of the better players in the Yankee lineup. So they definitely need him to come back and do his thing, along with guys like Aaron Judge, who, of course, coming off a record-breaking season, it's hard not to want him to do good. Another guy, Anthony Rizzo, who also came back as a free agent. Just looking forward to seeing those two guys really have a good impact. And I'm hoping that we see a bounce-back year from guys like Giancarlo Stanton and Josh Donaldson and even Aaron Hicks. I want those 3 guys especially to bounce back and give us the numbers that we know they're capable of.
Yeah, first and foremost, I do not think that IKF will be starting at short on opening day. At this point, I don't think that I think the Yankees realize that it's not what they should be doing. I do think we'll see Peraza on opening day at shortstop. A lot of people want to see Volpe, who is their number one rated overall prospect. He's fifth in MLB, I believe, according to MLB.com. A lot of people want to see him start on opening day, and he is tearing it up in spring training, but I just don't see that happening. I do think we will see Peraza start at shortstop over IKF. I think they're smarter than that now, and I think they kind of have shown that through spring training. I think IKF will be a kind of bench guy almost. So I hope that's what they do at least, because if not, then they're stupid, because IKF should not be starting on this team after last year. It is just, at this point, simply the wrong decision. As far as like a couple other guys in this lineup go, Aaron Judge, I think he's going to have another crazy good season. Giancarlo Stanton and Josh Donaldson, yes, two guys who struggled last year. I'd say Josh Donaldson a lot more than Giancarlo Stanton, because Giancarlo Stanton still had 30 home runs. So you can't really complain with a 30 home run season. Yes, he batted like 220 or something, 218. But having 30 home runs, you can't really argue with that. That means he did play a pretty big role on the team. I am very excited to see this lineup, how they actually play, because we know the Yankees, and if the Yankees are good, they're good. And if they're bad, they're really bad. So we'll see how they can perform. I mean, and missing Bader in this lineup, having him start the season on the IL is going to be really tough for them. I think once they get Bader back, this lineup will be feeling a lot better. He's just another option. He will be starting every day once he comes back. So I'm looking forward to seeing him come back for this lineup. But it's a good lineup.
Yeah,
all things took into account.
I do like the fact that, at least on FanGraphs, they have Oswaldo Cabrera starting in this lineup, because after the absolute stellar season, honestly, that he had last year after getting called up, I'm really excited to watch more of him, and I genuinely think that down the stretch, if, let's just say, Aaron Hicks were to be kicked out of the lineup, or Josh Donaldson were to be kicked out of the lineup, something along those lines of they just need a different person there. They need a change of face, a change of play. I would love to see Oswaldo Cabrera get a shot at any position. We all know that he can play damn near any position on the field besides maybe catcher and pitcher. But if you told me that he could play either one of those positions, I would believe you. I just really hope that we see more of the younger talent in this Yankees organization on this team this season. I'm not saying on opening day, but throughout the season, because I think that they've more than earned it, and these guys look more than ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, but depth is never a bad thing.
Agreed.
Which is really what you're explaining there. It's just having depth is one of the most important things in really any sport. So the fact that this team does have a lot of depth, I mean, there's guys that are listed on their bench that are like, they could be starters elsewhere. And they probably would be starters elsewhere. So, like, it's just having that depth in any lineup just makes the biggest difference. And I think we'll just, I don't know. I really do think depth is important. And I think this team does have depth when you really look at it. So that will help them out down the stretch and throughout the course of the season. Do we want to move over to their bench? I think we should.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Their bench, we gave them a 7.1 out of 10 on their bench, which is, I think, the highest so far.
Second highest. We gave the Angels a 7.3.
Okay, second highest so far. So their bench right now, as listed, is Kyle Higashioka, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, DJ LeMahieu, and Estevan Florial. I gave this bench really high because, well, first of all, DJ LeMahieu was on your bench, a guy who can still go out there and win the batting title if he really wanted to. He could play pretty much every infield position besides shortstop. They won't play him there. But he can play every other infield position, and we probably will see him at every other infield position at some point in the season. You got Kyle Higashioka, who is such an underrated catcher. He does not have it really on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, he can sometimes. We can see him hit 2 home runs in a game, just kind of seemingly out of nowhere. But his defense is really, really, really good. And considering they also have Jose Trevino, who is, best defensive catcher in baseball, having that another good defensive catcher to back him up is really important. So I love Higgy, and I love that he's on their bench. IKF, it doesn't get much worse than IKF. I don't really have much to say. That really does bring it down. And then Florial, I feel like they only have him listed on the bench because of the Bader injury.
Yeah.
So once Bader comes back, either one of Oswald Peraza or Aaron Hicks would be on this bench, which are still really two good bench pieces to have. So I like that.
Estevan Florial is out of options. So
even then someone is going to add to this bench when Bader comes back.
No, I'm saying, do we see maybe them send down a guy like Oswaldo Cabrera instead? Because then that keeps everybody in their organization.
I don't think you can send down Oswaldo Cabrera, because after what he just showed them last season and what he showed them he can do at a major league level, I think sending him down would be the worst thing for confidence and just all of that. I just don't think it's a good idea. Do I see a world in which they do it? Yes, of course. They're the Yankees. They always do stuff like that. But I think it would be a really bad idea. I think there's different options that you could probably do instead. I think maybe sending down Oswald Peraza. It depends on how guys are playing through the first month of the season once Bader comes back.
Yeah.
Because we still have it's gonna be a month into the season until he comes back, and we'll be able to see who's playing like good, who's playing bad. I think that'll kind of dictate it. So we'll see.
That'll definitely determine the decision that the Yankees have to make when it comes to bringing back Harrison Bader.
Yeah, but even then, that bench is really good with Florial. Florial has not shown that he can do too much in the majors quite yet, but he is definitely capable, and I'm definitely excited to see him. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Moving on to their defense? We're going to move on to their defense now. We gave their defense an 8.1 out of 10. Really good defense for this team. Obviously, you have Anthony Rizzo and Josh Donaldson at the corners, which are two really good defenders. Yes, you had IKF in the infield, who was probably one of the worst defenders in baseball last season, but you kind of have to get over that because he won't be playing shortstop all that much this season. He might be playing he's probably going to be playing a good bit, but not as much as he played last year. And just every single ball, it feels like that went to him, you hold your breath, because he's going to boot it or he's going to make a bad throw. It's never good. Out in the outfield, you have Aaron Judge, and when Harrison Bader comes back, he is an extremely, extremely good defender. So is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge has never won a Gold Glove, but he's just one of those elite defenders that should probably at some point. Of course, how could we mention defense without mentioning Jose Trevino? He is the best defensive catcher in baseball by a lot, too. Sure. He can frame the ball. He can block. He has a cannon of an arm. He can throw anyone out pretty much. And then Gleyber Torres at second base, another guy we didn't mention yet. Really good at second base. They tried him in shortstop 2 seasons ago. It just didn't work. Second is where he needs to be. He can play really good defense at second. That's what I have to say about the New York Yankees defense.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said. I am looking forward to Gleyber Torres really, showing out, especially on the defensive end. He is very good defensively and sort of flies under the radar because obviously when you're playing up the middle, all the lights are always on the shortstop who makes the athletic plays. Look at the Fernando Tatises of the world when he was last playing shortstop. You look at guys like Xander Bogaerts, Corey Seager, Carlos Correa. All of those guys are shortstops, and they sort of take the spotlight off of the second baseman when it comes to defense. But Gleyber Torres is definitely a guy that has the flash and has the skill and ability to be considered one of the better second basemen in this league. And I think after last season, we can say that for certain offensively. And I want to be able to say it overall as well. And part of that is defense. Yeah,
big part of that is defense. So that's kind of just how it's going to work this season for them.
Yeah.
Very excited. I'm very excited for this season. I'm very excited to see how this team performs, especially after, getting swept by the Astros to fall out of the playoffs, end the season, especially after in the regular season against the Astros, they did win a few games. Granted, those games were walk-offs and come from behind victories, so they were never fully ahead against the Astros last season, but
there was fun.
I mean, we expected at least one game to be won, but just nothing, and they went completely dead during that entire series. It was just really bad. They're looking to play with some vengeance this season. Do I think they will beat the Astros in the playoffs? Probably not, because that's kind of just how the big brother, little brother works, because the Astros have definitely done that to them recently. Mm-hmm. It's not a rivalry if the Yankees get beat every time.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Just give us that dogfight, and if the Yankees and Astros do meet in the postseason, at least make it competitive, because except for, the first inning of Game 4, it felt competitive. Every other inning of baseball besides that did not feel competitive. It felt like the Astros were always 2 steps ahead and the Yankees were lacking behind. And hopefully this offense is able to produce all season and into the postseason, because this team, dare I say, desperately needs to win a championship with the amount of star power that they have, both on each side of the ball.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think. But to be fair, we've been saying that since, 2018, so... Yeah. We'll see. Going to their pitching side of the ball, their rotation, we gave them a 9.5 out of 10, which is the highest we've seen so far. Their rotation, I'm going to say it with the injured guy who is on their rotation, because I feel like that is a big, big part of it. And yes, when we made these rankings, he was still in the rotation.
Yes.
So their rotation is Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Luis Severino, Domingo Germán, and Nestor Cortez Jr. Fangraphs has Clark Schmidt listed as one of their starters, but that is just not going to happen, because Carlos Rodon got a strained forearm in spring training, so he's going to be out for like a couple weeks. I don't know exactly how long, but he's definitely in this rotation, and he was a very, very big part of why we kind of gave this a 9.5 out of 10. Because looking at it, you have one of the best right-handed pitchers in baseball with Garrett Cole, and in my opinion, the best left-handed pitcher in baseball currently in Carlos Rodon. 2 guys who can... I want to say they're almost like very similar pitchers in the sense of they just go out there, strike guys out, pitch as many innings as possible. They just... absolute dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly the strikeout thing. Like, they both have very, high amounts of strikeouts. But one's lefty and one's a righty. And that's really dangerous in a rotation when you can have lefties and righties who can just shut guys down. And that's exactly what Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole will be in this rotation.
Yeah, well, that 1 and 2 is amazing. They have so much swing and miss stuff that any series that any team is going to play where they have to face Garrett Cole first and then Carlos Rodon next... You're talking about 2 games that could see back-to-back, 11, 12, 13 strikeouts for a lineup, which is obviously deflating. I do know for a fact that Garrett Cole always is a majority ahead in the count guy as a pitcher, meaning he always is usually able to get the first leg up, always able to get that first strike call, that second strike call before the second ball type of thing. He's very, very dominant on the mound, and we know that Carlos Rodon is just like Garrett Cole in that sense of dominant on the mound, very controlling and assertive of how they want to approach each at-bat. So I'm looking forward to watching them be a 1-2 punch when Carlos Rodon comes back.
Yeah, me too. That is one. I want to say that's the best 1-2 punch in baseball. There are a couple other very good 1-2 punches that we haven't even talked about yet. But that is just an incredible 1-2 punch for them. Yep. I'm just excited to watch how this entire rotation performs this season, because not only that, you have a guy like Nestor Cortez Jr. who...
Ooh, excuse me.
You have a guy like Nestor Cortez Jr. who last season just kind of came out and everyone loved him because he went out there and he did the damn thing. He proved himself, and when you come out of nowhere like that and just start playing like he does, doing the funny wind-ups and holding pose as you're pitching, just the fun stuff. But while you're doing that and being as good as he was last season is extremely impressive, and that's what makes people remember you and just want to watch you pitch every single day. He had a 2.44 ERA last year, with a .922 whip, which was the lowest in this rotation. I'm not too sure why they have him listed as the 5 starter. I think he'll wind up being the 4 starter behind Severino, and then Herman at the 5. So I don't know. I don't know why they have him listed that low. He was dealing with a little leg injury, which is why he pulled out of the World Baseball Classic. It looks like USA could have needed him a little bit, but hopefully he's fully healed and fully ready for spring training. I don't think we'll see any IL time for him. So that's very exciting. And Nestor might be the person I'm most excited to watch next season in this rotation.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm looking forward to watching Nestor Cortez obviously do the damn thing, as I just stated. And I think that we're going to see him sort of replicate his season from last year. And just because I don't want to hear from people that the 2022 season was sort of a lightning in a bottle for a guy like Nestor Cortez, he obviously has the stuff, and he showed it off last season to not only be entertaining, but to be damn great while entertaining. Another guy who's on that same caliber of can be great and entertaining is Luis Severino in my mind. Luis Severino is, I believe, entering the last year of his deal where he could be up for an extension with the New York Yankees. And if I'm the New York Yankees, I'm looking to sign this guy because if you have Garrett Cole locked up long-term and you have Carlos Rodon locked up long-term, Luis Severino could very easily be a number 1 or 2 on plenty of other teams. You could have him as your 3, which is why I say to definitely try to lock in and sign him long-term as well, because that would really just solidify this rotation for however long it's going to be together.
Yeah, it's having guy after guy who just in your lineup could be that dominant force, and having so many options as that person.
Yeah.
I think it is really important, and I think he'll start to perform really, really well in the season, and we might see a mid-season extension. I don't think just them letting this guy go into free agency or just letting him go, I don't think that would be smart for them. So I think we'll continue, hopefully, to see Luis Severino pitch for the Yankees after this season. But I am focused on this season and how he's going to perform this season. I think he'll be dominant too. And this rotation is overall a 9.5 out of 10. Like it's just that's just how it is.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, the biggest wild card is Domingo Germán, who did not really have it when he came back last season, but towards the end of the season, he really did pick it up, and he started having a good season. He ended with a 3.61 ERA, yes, but a lot of that, like we said, was because of the first few starts coming back. I'm very excited to see what they can do and how Domingo Germán kind of performs, because in 2021, I believe it was, he was absolutely dominant. He was like leading baseball in wins, and he was just every time he went out there, they were winning ball games, which is obviously at the end the goal.
Yes.
So that's that. Do we want to get to their bullpen, which is arguably just as good as their rotation?
Yeah,
we gave their bullpen a 9.2 out of 10. This bullpen: Clay Holmes, Jonathan Loaizaga, Michael King, Wandy Peralta, Ron Marinaccio, Greg Weishart, Albert Abreu, and then a couple injured guys who we'll talk about now. Scott F. Ross had Tommy John surgery in October. He's not coming back this season. Tommy Kahnle had a bicep thing. He's going to be out for a little while.
He'll be back in about like a month or 2 months.
Yeah, and then Lou Trevino, who has a strained elbow. I'm not sure the timetable for that return.
That one I don't know either.
But when you take those guys, Kahnle and Lou Trevino, who they just lost recently, like within a couple weeks ago or a week ago, this is a very, very good bullpen as well. Like it's just up there with their rotation, and which makes this team just kind of like even more scary. Is like, oh yeah, we get through 6 innings of Garrett Cole. Say he gave up 3 earned runs. Like, yeah, okay, 3 earned runs against Garrett Cole. We'll take that. Then you have Michael King coming in for the 7th, and Johnny Loaizaga coming in for the 8th, and then Clay Holmes coming in for the 9th. It's a very, at times, will be unhittable bullpen, and I think we'll see that happen. Yeah, there's just guy after guy who can come in and kind of just put this wacky stuff out that just guys can't hit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you want to get a little bit more in depth with it, we could talk about the fact that it feels like they're very split at the top when we're talking about the four of Clay Holmes, Jonathan Loizaga, Michael Kane, and Wandy Peralta. There are two guys here, in Jonathan Loizaga and Wandy Peralta, who are much more stuff oriented. You know, like Wandy Peralta's changeup, he pitched in every game of the ALDS, which Yankee fans love to mention because he was untouchable in those 5 games, just about. And then you have two power pitchers who will just kill you with 100-mile-an-hour sinkers in Clay Holmes and Michael Kane. It's exciting that there's so many different options for the Yankees when it comes to the bullpen, especially after everybody gets back from the IL and gets better. You know, we're going to be talking about, like you said, a more unhittable type of bullpen.
Yeah. And which I think is, obviously bullpen can be argued as the most important part of a team. Because if you can't close out these games and have people to come in to not give up runs and not do these bad jobs of just blowing games, it's really important because that's how you win games at the end of the day. You can't be sitting there bringing in your relievers and being like, well, we're going to lose because we don't have a good bullpen, and if it's a one-run game, we know they're giving up at least 1 or 2.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels really good when you have a team and you have a bullpen that you can confidently say, if when we get to our bullpen, there's a good chance they will not give up a single run. So if you have the lead going into your bullpen, or even if it's a close game, having a lockdown bullpen is very, very important. I think that's what the Yankees have, and I think it's going to be very fun.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's going to be no way, shape, or form that you can roll out these guys in any order. Well, I don't know why I said no way, shape, or form, but it doesn't matter in what way you roll out these guys, because as of right now, from what it looks like, it's very closer by committee a little bit, just because no one really knows for certain who the guaranteed closer will be. Like, before Michael King got injured, everyone was lobbying for him. Jonathan Loizaga obviously has the stuff, and Clay Holmes is listed as the closer and was in the postseason. So it'll be interesting to see what approach Aaron Boone and the Yankees take in bringing these guys in to lock down games. But no matter what decisions they make for it, you're going to see a very good version of this bullpen.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think it is kind of a closer by committee, it feels like right now. But I think once the season starts and once we kind of see who can perform best in that role, I think they will eventually make it a one person will be the closer, because that's how it has to be. You can't, the closer by committee thing works, but only to a certain extent. It is, in my opinion, a lot nicer of a feeling knowing you have a closer and just one guy who comes out and closes out every day. Yes, having the options is better, because obviously, but the thing is, even with having that one guy who's your closer, you still have the other options if needed.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't have the other closing options. We know all these guys can close out games. It's just a matter of who they will choose to close out the games once the season starts and once we kind of see how they're all performing in that spot. So that's what I think about their closer rule.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. I'm looking forward to watching this bullpen do the damn thing. Matt Blake masterclass coming up for the second straight season, I think, and we're going to have a fun time.
It is going to be a fun time for the Yankees bullpen, rather.
Yeah.
Moving on to their coaching. We gave their coaching a 7.6 out of 10. Obviously, you have Aaron Boone, who is their manager. Has been very controversial since 2018, since he took over for Joe Girardi.
Overhated.
And, yeah, a lot of people hate him. I do agree. I think, yes, a lot of people hate him. I don't think it's justified. I think a lot of people kind of blame him for stuff that he really shouldn't be blamed for.
Yeah.
But not even that. Also coaching, they have Matt Blake, who is probably one of the best pitching coaches in baseball right now. They can develop the young talent, I would say, decently well. Not as good as other teams, not nearly as good as other teams, but they do have better than a lot of teams.
Yes.
In terms of developing guys. And just the only thing that I will say against Boone is the lineups he puts out sometimes are just absolutely atrocious.
He tries to overcoach at times.
And the fact that IKF was the starting shortstop in that lineup for so long last season, just things that just annoy you as a fan, but hating the manager is something that you might not want to do because who knows who's telling Boone to put IKF in that lineup. Like, I guarantee you it wasn't all Boone's decision to keep IKF in that lineup all year.
I mean, you and I are Yankee fans, and we know that there are definitely some times where the front office is telling Aaron Boone exactly what to do.
Yeah, exactly. So
they like to play chess, and they use their, if anything ever were to go drastically wrong, and let's just say, the Yankees missed out on the playoffs, or if someone were to not have performed in a big spot when needed be, obviously besides IKF apparently, we would have seen Aaron Boone be the fall man. He would have taken the hit, taken the fall, and maybe even gotten fired if the season were to have went astray after having one of the best first halves in baseball history.
Yeah, not to mention his team. He's also, I believe, one of the first managers in baseball history to have an 100+ win team, like in the first couple seasons, or like won the division in X amount of seasons,
something like
or like
that.
Best record. Like he has a really good team behind him, and he's doing a good job. So that's their coaching.
Yeah.
Moving on to their energy, which is our last category. We gave their energy a 7 out of 10. When this team is playing good, they are energetic. I do think that when they are bad, it is below 0 for energy. It's just they completely deflate, and they don't just it's like a balloon. When they blow up, they're like really, really big, and they're having a good time, and they're winning games. But then when they're bad, it's like you take all the air out of the balloon, and not only do you take the air out of the balloon, but you start ripping the balloon to pieces. Like the balloon doesn't even exist anymore, and it's the worst feeling in the world.
For sure. I think that they obviously do have guys who can bring a lot of energy, but like you said, they get very deflated very quickly. I'm not going to say that the team doesn't have fight. They definitely have fight, but they don't have the willpower to win in certain situations, which I hope gets changed because you're talking about a team that, like we said plenty of times already, last season they had one of the best first halves in baseball. And you don't just get that from not playing good baseball no matter what the situation. So I'm looking forward to hopefully saying that, yes, this team may come from behind victories because they have the excitement and the watch factor and the know-how that, hey, they're the New York Yankees. This is one absolutely crazy lineup to have in the game of baseball today. And, that there's no way that you can count them out until you get 27 outs against this lineup.
Yeah. That's a great speech. Great speech. Great speech.
Thank you. I worked on it all day.
Good. Yeah, I can tell. So, if you're counting with us at home, we did give them a 56.7 out of the total 70 points, which, like I said, is the 4th best in baseball, 2nd best in the American League. Lewis, do you have a rookie report for us?
Of course. So, we talked about it earlier. There are a couple of guys in the top 100 that are extremely exciting for Yankee fans, including you and I. I mean, the guy who I look forward to the most and the guy who I want to see the most is Anthony Volpe. Of course, Anthony Volpe is the 5th-ranked prospect in all of baseball for the 2023 season by MLB.com, and that would put him first as the Yankees' number 1 prospect. The 21-year-old kid out of Jersey is just an absolute phenom, and so far he showed that in spring training. Last season, it was really big news when he got called up into AAA, where, yes, he did struggle. His AAA OPS was a 717. However, that was only over 22 games. But in his first 110 games in AA, we're talking about a guy who had an 820 OPS with 106 hits, 88 strikeouts to nearly 60 walks, finishing at 57, and he stole exactly 50 bases across both leagues, 44 of those coming in AA. We're talking about a guy who has the potential to be a 5-tool player, has all the skill, all the swagger, and if you at all have been able to view anything about the Yankees spring training, you'll know that, this Anthony Volpe kid has some of the most crazy amount of respect, kindness, and gratitude for the situation that he's in. And I think that it's very humble of him to show, especially when he's out in the public eye so heavily right now, because I think him and almost everybody else in baseball knows that if it were up to the fans, Anthony Volpe would be the starting day shortstop.
Starting day
Would be the opening day shortstop, and the roll call would be as loud as could be for him. He just seems like he's more than ready. However, of course, the Yankees have this theory of each prospect needs to conquer their own level before they are able to get called up to the majors. But then again, Oswaldo Cabrera came out of nowhere. No one was talking about how this guy was the best hitter in AAA, the best defender in AAA, and he came up, and I can say that he pretty well dominated the MLB level for what the Yankees asked him to do. I mean, he robbed home runs, pimped the hell out of home runs, and was just a very good player. So Anthony Volpe is who I'm looking forward to saying will be a starting shortstop very soon for the New York Yankees.
Oh, 100%. Very soon.
Yeah.
I think
I might even buy his jersey.
We could by the end of the season see him playing. I mean, I can see why you... The only issue with buying his jersey is what number is he going to wear.
Yeah.
That is definitely not determined yet. So I do think you might have to wait till he actually comes into the majors and actually makes his debut and starts playing a little more.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know me, I don't buy Yankee jerseys. So
no, you do not buy Yankee jerseys.
I think that says a lot by saying I want to buy his jersey when he makes the bigs.
Yeah, that does say a lot. Now we get to the fun part, the MVP hitter and pitcher for this team. Lewis, who will be the MVP pitcher for this team?
MVP pitcher, I mean, have I not been displaying it all episode? It's going to be Garrett Cole, baby. The Cole train is going to fucking roll through this team. Roll with this team. Not through it.
Yeah, roll through it. He's going to just start pitching against them.
Yeah.
Every time he goes to start, he's just going to stay on the mound the entire game. He's a starter for both teams.
He'll throw like 200 pitches to start.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with... I'm a little tough. I was going to say Garrett Cole because I am wearing a Garrett Cole jersey. But I'll go, just for the sake of not the same answer, I'll go with the other option, Carlos Rodon. I'd love to also go with Nestor Cortez, but I think Carlos Rodon is just... He's going to be that guy. I'm excited to watch Carlos Rodon. MVP hitter, who you got?
MVP hitter, this one, a little bit out of the blue, a little bit not chalk. Give me Gleyber Torres. I spoke about it earlier. I just really am looking forward to him having an amazing season offensively and defensively, and especially in a year that's so important for the Yankees. I think they need the most out of every player. That starts with Gleyber Torres, who is one of the more underrated bats in this lineup. Gleyber Torres.
There you go. I'm going to go with Aaron Judge. I'm going chalk.
Yep.
He hit 62 home runs last season. You can't really see him getting that much. Like, you can't see him having a horrible season after doing something like that, especially after the money and captain. He's the captain of the team.
Yeah.
I don't think we even mentioned that this episode.
No.
Aaron Judge is the captain of the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
He's going to have a good season. He's going to go out there. He's going to be the leader of the team. He's going to be dictating their entire season.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I'm really excited to watch Aaron Judge. Now, finally, like I said, fourth best team in baseball. We have them ranked, and the second best team in the American League. Now I'm going to say the 2023 Yankees will be, and you will tell me what place they will be in. Lewis,
all right.
The 2023 New York Yankees will be in...
First place.
I agree. First place in the AL East is going to be where they end up.
Do we know what their win total projection is?
Their total would be 95.5. So it's not a project. It's just an over/under, season over/under.
Yeah,
95.5. I'm going over.
I would take the over.
Last season they played horribly for 2 months and won 99 games. So they probably would have had the most wins in baseball if those 1.5 month period of them just losing every other game. They lost. They got swept by the Reds.
Yeah.
That's just not something that should be happening with a team like the Yankees. So if moments like that don't happen this season, then we will be seeing a over 100 win team, I think.
Easily.
I'm excited. Yeah. So that was it.
What about you? Where do you think they're going to finish?
I said first. I agreed.
Oh, okay.
I agreed. That was also the only place that we could have put them after our entire rankings from before.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah. So first place in the AL East. We thank you guys for watching, listening, viewing, and subscribing, and commenting and following. If you like, make sure to do all those things and share with your friends. And we will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Peace. Oh, let's go Yankees, too.
Let's go Yankees.
Peace.